world surrounded by franchises, reboots, and shared universes. An elite team of podcasters will risk body and soul to investigate the depths of intellectual properties, one multiverse, subgenre, and trend at a time. Who are we? We're the IP Squad.
Welcome back to the IP Squad, our ongoing investigation into films based on Sherlock Holmes. I'm John Campbell. With me, of course, the Jones boys. We've got Brendan Jones.
Hello!
And we've got Robin Jones.
All right, John, listen. I've got a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
Buddy.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You know, I don't like to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Public arguments.
You're famously not
not
confrontational publicly.
That's not me.
No.
Every time Brennan brings up some, dark memory from my past, I let it slide. I let it go. But, John,
Yes.
you have, over the course of about 15 years of doing this, promised me every single time
Yeah.
that this, whatever episode it would be, would be the backdoor spinoff pilot for Baker's Dozen, the films of Roy Ward Baker. And here we are again, John.
Yep.
Here we are again. Asylum.
Yep.
This.
Yep.
I think the cat one we did with Ray Milland.
Who's also in this.
Can I say something about Ray Milland real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he drink before he showed up to the, or was it during the day?
Arguments can be made, Brendan.
All of the above, I think, is the answer.
I found most of his dialogue. Luckily, he's not a huge character, but I was like,
unintelligible.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think Baker was quoted as, "We were happy to get him to enunciate Holmes."
Yeah.
And that was a day of triumph.
The German ambassadors.
I will also say, when you see Ray Milland in 1984, you're like, so that's what drinking does to a body and a face.
He's a walking PSA.
I did have to go oh shit.
But the clue
That's Ray Milland.
The clue was his 10 years before, early 70s memoir, in which he spends a good beginning chapter and end chapter just talking about how much he hates Jewish people, women, homosexuals, and hippies in general.
Wow.
And I think, like so many Welsh actors, the drink did him no favors.
I will say this, too. Apparently, Robin's the kind of guy who will read a Ray Milland autobiography.
I understand that.
100%, Brendan.
You really should, at some point, just list all the character actors whose autobiographies.
It is impressive.
Or biographies.
Or biographies.
Brennan, I told you that we didn't have to talk about Paul Frees today, but I will say...
Oh, no.
That's right. We were talking about Paul Frees before we started coming on here. Yeah.
That I do own Welcome, Foolish Mortals, The Life of Paul Frees biography that was published, of course, through Fair Manor Publishing, which will publish anybody for anything.
I will also say that you are in possession of, I believe, the sole volume of Buddy Hackett's poetry autographed.
Yes.
And I wonder who got you that.
Oh, someone who loves me conditionally, apparently.
Conditionally,
Gets me.
But anyway,
you two do say, what have you done for me lately?
Today.
We are talking a little bit about Milland,
What are we talking about, John?
We are talking about Sherlock Holmes and the Masks of Death.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
1984.
And perhaps the greatest mask of death that we see in the film is our beloved Peter Props.
But you know what? I was pleasantly
Face was taut.
surprised. Well, he did look quite old, but he still brought it, I thought.
What I found very interesting, though weirdly, it doesn't pay off, and you're like, well, why? Because I've never seen this before.
I had never seen this before either.
So we've now seen 2/3 just in this podcast. 2/3 of his appearances as Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah, well we did. To be fair, you have to go to a patron to hear the other one, which was on the Peter Cushing show we did over there.
Yeah, Peter
That's right.
Yep.
Right, not on this particular podcast.
Yes, yeah. Just as a note for people, if you want to hear that, head over to patreon.com.
And this is a TV movie.
/punchupent.
Yes.
This is very. Oh, it's very.
It was made for British television, or was it made for us?
I don't.
British.
I believe British. Yeah, okay. I was trying to find where this aired.
Well, everyone attached to it, including, Baker and so forth. It's like, yeah, these are all Brits, but I didn't know if it was something they did for like NBC TV gives you.
No, it doesn't. It has that British TV look of this era as opposed to the polish of the Sherlock Holmes in New York that we watched.
Right, but what I'll say is, the thing where I said what doesn't pay off is, and it had me concerned. It starts in 1923.
Yes.
It has this weird bookend.
Yeah.
And because it's in 23 at the very beginning, I'm thinking, whoa, so they've created, I know this isn't based on any of the actual stories. They've created a story that goes beyond his canonical last case, which is from 1914. And so I'm like, wow. And it did have me concerned because they are showing him kind of, and his voice is very high, and he's in a chair, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And it's old Watson, and they're talking to like a lady reporter or some sort
stenographer.
Yeah.
Stenographer. And it's like,
tell you about a case.
Well, I'll tell you about this amazing case and how it impacted history. And then we flash back to 1914. So actually the main story is set, I think they are cleverly like going, we just put one in right before his final bow, which is the last of the canonical stories. So this isn't throwing off anything canon-wise, I guess. And the mystery's not great. But what made me feel awesome was just what John was saying. When we're back in 1914, they are acknowledging that, yes, he's old, but not as old as he is at the beginning. So that guy who looks like he could barely lift his pipe at the very beginning, that was Cushing playing older.
Yes.
Right.
And then when you're back in 1914, he is a retirement age Holmes. But yes, he looks, I mean, the man was always thin, but this is almost the end of his life, and he's 70 years old.
Well, he lives another 10 years, which I was surprised by.
Yeah. He's sprightly, and it's all about
He's in.
When you see the thoughts hit his brain, and when he's there, I'm like, this movie, if it were only Holmes and Watson scenes and Holmes and Irene Adler scenes, I'm like, I don't even care what the mystery is, because every one of those scenes is a banger. And I'm happy with it.
I 100% agree. That's exactly my take. I love all the Holmes. I love everybody who's here. I just don't particularly care what they're doing. Like, I've had a hard time getting too invested in this mystery, except for when they reveal at the end what it is, and you're like, what the fuck? That's a huge thing that you stumbled upon. Okay.
Right.
But it never felt like it had that scope early.
It steals little bits from other Holmes things, and it is, I think, just because they were like, "Oh, we're not going to be doing another Hound of the Baskervilles." I don't even know why they would want to.
That's
get
what
70-year-old.
That is what they tried to do. I think I'm assuming you read the Wikipedia there, Brendan. Because yes, for those who don't know, this was originally they were trying to raise money to do Hound of the Baskervilles yet again. Number one, stop with the Hound of the Baskervilles in general. It's the most overproduced Holmes story. It's a great story. There's a number of great versions, but unless you're really going to do something new with it, it's been done a billion times. And yes, it's already been done with this actor very well.
Yeah.
I don't know what, and also, why would he be 70? I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad that it ended up.
They come up with an original one,
yes,
and the original one is bits and pieces, and then working them into essentially the beginning of World War I, and
which
you're like,
is
okay,
that's cool. to do that.
That's clever enough, but the mystery's not that great.
No.
And when I say they borrow stuff, the opening thing with I am a foreign dignitary, but I'm being cagey about who I am, and then him going like, "Hey, Watson, pull that book down off the shelf that's like the directory," and then he just goes and blah blah blah, and that's who you are. I'm like, that is literally Scandal in Bohemia.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Irene Adler shows up later, but this is a sequel. But
Yeah,
I'm just like, well, then why do you actually use an opening that's an opening from that story?
Yeah.
Where he's like going, yeah, I'm up on all the
I
noble,
have some theories
of Europe. And
Brendan, I have some theories about
Tiber,
the writing. Yeah, go ahead about the Tyburn, but yeah.
Well, Tiber, the production company, was we're not as good as Amicus, we're not as good as Hammer,
right?
British horror theater movie production company.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to think that when they were talking about Hound of the Baskervilles, they had asked Anthony Schaefer, who did Sleuth, to do a pass on it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they couldn't raise the money.
Yeah.
And so
because people are probably like, we've seen it.
Schaefer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they couldn't afford to get Anthony Schaefer after the initial pass on Baskervilles. Having made that joke about the Mask of Death, it broke my heart to see Cushing like this.
Yeah.
But I was heartened by when he was younger and supposed to be more active, that he could still kind of bring an energy to it.
Definitely.
When he's standing out in the grounds of the estate, and you see him from a long shot, and he is swinging this cane around like he's about to do a dance number.
That's our boy Props. That's our boy right there.
Cushing,
Props
Cushing right here.
Man, never met a prop he didn't love.
He like a lot of great. Well, him similar to the character, which according to him, this was his favorite character he played.
Oh yeah.
He really only played Holmes a few times, but you can
tell anytime he did do it, there is a real like, I'm sinking my teeth in.
But the thing here is, it's both him and the character are British archetypes in the way that he was going to work until he dropped dead.
Yep.
And he, luckily, the faculties are all there. It's just the body is frail, and that does hurt. I agree. There are moments in there where I'm going, man, I just hang in there, buddy. But it's all in the mind and in the eyes. The bit when he's examining the corpse, talk about a great prop for Props Cushing.
Yeah.
And it is just him going, he is Holmes. It's right there.
Yeah.
And are we doing Mr. Holmes on this podcast?
Oh yes, we are. Yes, we are. I love that movie.
Because I'm not I love a last go round with a classic character where you get someone who, it's like, I'm going to do the final adventure of fill in the blank.
Oh,
I love it.
The old man.
Dial of Destiny, exactly when it's done.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel has made an entire thing of old man whoever these days, right? I mean, they've done it all.
Yeah, old man.
Comic book,
I'd say the thing with the comics, though, of course, you get the luxury of they can still whoop as much ass as you need them to, because you can draw them.
Yeah.
But as far as this is concerned, I mean, I don't know if this is a fitting last adventure of Sherlock Holmes, and even the movie isn't indicating it is his last, because he's sitting there in 1923 going, "Oh yes."
You might have read that they did write and were trying to get a sequel to this. It's going, so this was intended to kick off a series of some sort.
Yeah, but his health was the big
that's
concern.
what. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think he is great here. I think that the material isn't meeting him.
That's the
and the great moments are just because you've got. I mean, John Mills is a great Watson.
Great, and they have killer chemistry. Killer chemistry.
They have
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Ann Baxter.
Great.
Come on, she's chewing this up, man.
And they
I'm
once again.
I had kind of a problem with the conception. Here's the thing. I love the conception of what they did with Holmes and Adler.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had a problem with it, and it's because
Uh-oh.
they didn't
Here we
have the third act Adler. She's just in like really the second act of the movie,
That's
and then
that's
she
very
goes
true.
away.
She's
Yeah.
not instrumental to how
And I
everything
I
winds
kept
up.
thinking, well, then did you just have her on the train doing something anybody could have done because you knew you only had her for these many days and you wanted to get your full Baxter's worth? And
Or maybe they already had a sequel in mind that
Yeah.
she was going to be
Because
more
I will say,
important in.
the thing I like, I agree with both things that were just said. She's great, and I think that they really, you feel like, oh, this is some. Because I love the moment when Watson sees her and he's like, oh boy,
Yes.
you know, all that.
Yeah.
That's all great, but yes, it goes back to, once again, the actors are great, everybody's bringing it, but then it goes back to the problem, which is the script, which is, yes, I agree. Then it's like, well, then do something with her, because they really build her up.
Yeah,
everybody
100%.
plays it really well, but then you're like, and she's here, why?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a red herring, maybe, or
I guess,
I didn't
yeah.
understand.
I
I
want
like
to.
I couldn't help but there's little the nods, the fact that at the train scene where Holmes has disguised himself as a vicar, and then you're like, oh, and in
Which is
Scandal of Bohemia, that is the disguise that he used with Irene Adler when he pretends he's sick and all that sort of thing, and and there's that smile on her face, and where she's like going, oh. Yeah, you doing that part again. I mean,
That's all.
yes,
The history
she
between
doesn't
them
help with the resolution of the story, but it's the best.
It's
I just kept
just-
thinking that they were going to show up at the Queen's country estate. That was something my wife kept saying was, that's not Buckingham Palace. I go, I don't think anybody's supposed to know about the honor that he's about to receive.
Right,
I think
right,
it's
right.
supposed to be very secret.
Yeah.
But I kept thinking like they would go in there and Adler would be there. Like that she kind of did a Mycroft Holmes a bit, where she was kind of moving, shaping forces behind.
But no.
As you bring up, once they get to the estate, this thing really hits the brakes, right? Like, it's a lot of, they get there and there's kind of just sort of milling about for a while until you get to an explosion, and then even that, you're still like, hey, wow, all right, here we go. And then you're like, oh, we're still going to, like, just tinker around for another 20 minutes before we get to resolve. And this thing is only like 75 minutes. I mean, it's not very long.
Yeah.
Right.
But yet
And
there's a lot
had,
of sluggish, sections.
Yeah, sluggish pacing. It had obvious commercial breaks.
Oh, the commercial breaks are
really
terrible.
Yeah,
like, you can so just
it was just not worthy of
But they did have that part where
Cushing?
Holmes looks out at the camera and goes, I think I know who did it. Do you?
We love an Ellery Queen reference on this show.
Oh my
do
God,
we ever?
John, when are we doing Ellery Queen?
Yeah,
Come
I mean,
on, buddy, let's do it.
That'd be a quick run.
How many TV movies and seasons did that go?
Not
It
just
only had one
just
season.
the one
22
I thought it was
season.
2
episodes.
seasons.
No, it's just
No,
the one season. It's a
22 episodes.
it's a
and
bummer.
TV movie pilot.
America.
But
America
it's
let
enough
that
for
down.
23 episodes of something, John. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
We have
I'm not. That would be you two guys, because if I'm doing one season of something, it's Kolchak the Night Stalker,
which we already did. We already did it. I
I do like
what about, hey,
Queen,
Brendan,
but not
Brendan, what
they're
about
going, oh,
Brendan?
he sure figured that out.
what?
Did you?
What about Bill Bixby is the magician?
The Magician. I
And
might be a little bit more.
I have that DVD set. I'm ready to go.
I love it. I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I
think
bought
it's dynamite.
in a split second when they put that out.
All right. Okay. Moving on.
I want to
Love
bring
it.
up, since we've been talking about the script, the second this screenwriter name came up, I'm like, oh, I know who that is from our days of doing
Hammer.
all the Hammer movies. This is written by John Elder, or as he's known to most, Anthony Hines. This is his final screenplay credit, and he's...
Oh, is it?
Yep. And he's just as lazy as ever. There are moments...
Wow.
I would say this is so indicative of having seen, looking through this, the vast majority of what he wrote. Most of it we covered over on season 2 of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters. This guy just he always had good ideas and then just never was able to congeal them into anything satisfying.
I just don't
John,
think he's.
since I haven't looked through his credits, and his name isn't, besides knowing just Anthony Hines sounds familiar. What are some greatest hits?
All right, here we go. All right, Curse of the Werewolf. He did write our beloved Night Creatures, also with Peter Cushing. The Phantom of
what his Vicar outfit reminded me of was Night Creatures.
The Phantom of the Opera, the Hammer version, which I like aspects of. Several of the Frankenstein and Dracula, and especially down the stretch, he wrote like the last 5 Hammer, Dracula, and Frankenstein
he really
movies.
is like the Hammer guy.
Yeah.
And so if you have a fair bet of if you pick one of the Hammer horror films, he'll have written it.
Yeah, he wrote I would probably say the majority of them. Once they lost our beloved Jimmy Sangster.
Yeah, when Sangster isn't doing it,
you can tell it was. You could if you could take the credits off, and if you show me a Hammer movie, I could tell you if it's a Sangster or a Hines based on the quality of the writing.
Even if the story's crap, Sangster has a wit about him.
Absolutely, man. But I will just point out that he also wrote one of my favorite. Well, Sangster did, yeah. Sangster went, but I would say Hines wrote Rasputin the Mad Monk, which I have a real fondness for because it's bonkersville, and Lee is all in on it, man. Oh, it's so much fun.
I am a little partial to young master Brendan Douglas Jones's Dracula is Rasputin in.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
The reason I love that movie because the same thing. It's crazy and it's Christopher Lee, but I just did too much research on Rasputin where I sit there going like, yeah, I changed stuff to make him Dracula, but that movie is just like so far from reality that I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
you shrug your shoulders because
at one point did you go
because it's not trying. It's not my point, Brendan, is always it's never saying that it is. I mean, it's a Hammer movie. I watch as a Hammer movie, not as a historical documentary. So it's just about the mindset I watch it, and I'm not sitting there going, I don't expect that to be realistic. In the same way that I love
John. Brendan thought Brendan's review on Letterboxd is him being a vampire is more realistic than what I just watched.
I will say though, in terms of cinematic Rasputins, I gotta go Rhys Ifans. I think Rhys Ifans in The King's Man he's
a lot of fun. Again,
great.
That's the whole other thing.
Great.
I thought Alan Rickman's TV movie was pretty good.
I do remember watching that. I haven't seen that forever. I do remember liking that because hot take Rickman, great in everything. Yeah. Anyway,
rest in peace, Mr. Rickman.
Oh my God. Once again, we talked about that last week. The fact that he did that play on stage, and I'm like, why is there not a film where Rickman played Holmes? Because I want to see that. He would have been an amazing Holmes.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah.
I saw this thing. Brennan, you remember Bill Cott, right? Los Angeles, in the Vista building. Yes. Bill Cott was this neighbor of ours who longtime viewers and listeners may know as Mr. Larry Tate on Wizards of Waverly Place, but Bill has also been in some films, including Galaxy Quest, where he's one of the nerds at the convention.
Oh, cool.
And what Bill referenced with this repost he did on Facebook was Rickman would be very early in the morning for his makeup, but by the time the extras started getting pulled in, they had gotten his makeup down that he didn't need all those hours, and instead he would help the makeup artist put on the alien makeup for all the extras for the convention scene.
Wow.
Yep.
And Bill Cott said, not me, but I was aware of this because I knew a lot of people who had, and there was a photo from the article of Rickman smiling and putting the headpiece onto an extra.
Everything I ever heard about that
just
guy.
Because he was so crazy bored.
Well, but everything I ever heard
Maybe,
about that
but
guy,
he's
just
a
a
big
total
player,
sweetheart who loved everybody and everybody loved him. Pretty much is what I
Yeah,
gathered.
Jesus.
Well, that was
Anyway,
our Rickman corner.
That was Rickman
back to
Corner.
the
Can I
film that
talk
we
about the
watched.
fact that Ray
Galaxy
Milland?
Quest Corner.
Let's talk about Ray Milland for a second, and not just the drunkenness. He replaced John Gielgud was supposed to be this part, who we previously talked about in Murder by Decree. So
well,
I mean, it's a nothing part, no matter who played it.
Yeah, there's not much to this part. I'm sure they just said, "Can we get old dude?"
Yeah.
Speaking of age, Mrs. Hudson apparently
It's like
got some of Doc
120?
Savage's rejuvenation
Yeah.
formula because
Brandon, wait a second. Are
she
you saying
is-
she's part of the Wold Newton family?
she is
Oh
part
my
of the
God.
Wold Newton universe. Because listen, she was supposed to be kind of middle-aged, older lady than the sprightly in their early 30s,
Yeah.
Holmes and Watson. So here she's not aged.
No.
They're 70 years old, and
Yeah.
she's still sort of the old lady who I'm like,
Be like,
she should either be the daughter of Mrs. Hudson.
oh, that would have been an
or,
interesting
like,
idea.
Hudson has passed or something like that.
Because I was gonna say it'd be
But no,
like
she's
if
straight
Alfred
up-
was still butlering around in Batman Beyond. You're like, wait, what? He's 160.
Yeah. Well, he's an AI now. They
Well,
killed
he
him.
actually is an
They
AI
killed
now.
him.
Developed an
Yes,
AI
I'm aware he's an
called
AI.
ALS.
Well, that's
RED.
Robin. He actually is an AI in the comics now. But
He
that,
is.
yeah.
Oh
They killed
wow!
him,
Yeah.
You're
Rob.
fucking kidding me.
Well, Tom King.
No, he's dead,
Tom King.
Robin.
was
Tom-
that a Grant Morrison idea?
No. Tom King
Well,
I don't
killed
remember
him.
who killed him off.
Tom
Was it
King.
Tom King?
Tom King killed him in City of Bane, and then now Matt Fraction has made him an AI.
Okay.
So
I don't know.
Well, we'll move on.
Guys, let's move on. I will
It's
say,
comics.
if
It's
you want to see
comics.
the last great performances of Ray Milland, look
Yeah.
no further than his 2 Columbo appearances.
oh yeah, actually
And
yeah.
the pilot episode of Ellery Queen. Too
Oh,
many times.
I didn't. I
There you
did.
go.
How did I not see that coming?
All
Oh my
roads lead to
God.
the same
And that-
destination.
You don't want to talk about the 2-parter of Heart to Heart he did?
No, no one does. No one
Or
does, Tom.
Starflight, the
Even-
plane that
even-
couldn't land?
Even RJ will not talk about it.
Do you guys
RJ
have any
Wagner.
memory of
We called him.
Starflight? The plane that couldn't
Of what?
land? Starflight? The plane that
Yes, I
couldn't
do remember
land?
Yes,
Starflight, the
I
plane
do
that
Because
couldn't
that, I will
land.
say,
Yes.
that's
I
the
think we were probably watching The Last Dinosaur the same night.
when
so
you
that's-
I always love this when you go to someone's IMDb, right? There's always a video that'll start playing, and for some reason when you go to
Yeah.
Ray Milland's, it's the trailer for Starflight, the plane that couldn't land,
Wow.
starts playing
Wow.
on his.
Yeah, that is
not-
weird.
The Lost Weekend.
I
that
don't
he
know
won the
how-
Oscar for.
Yeah, I
or-
don't know how that
Megan
is
the Minor.
decided. It's very funny.
Well, what's weird is, I
Easy
mean, maybe
Living
that's
with
an
Gene
algorithm
Arthur, maybe.
thing,
It's got to be.
but I
some-
went to Susan Penhaglian's IMDb based on
course.
this
Uh-huh.
because she, for 2 seconds, is at the beginning of the movie as the stenographer, and she
Yes.
doesn't come back at the end. They don't bookend it, so it's weird.
No,
that
it's
you
almost
have her.
at all.
like
But I'm
you
like,
didn't need
man,
that.
I've always thought
period.
she was crazy cute. I go over and look at her IMDb page, and the first thing, and she did a lot of different stuff,
Yep.
but the first thing that comes up is the trailer for this. And I
Oh,
was like,
interesting.
what? Sherlock
Right.
Holmes. I'm like, why is this the thing? They
Oh my
have to
God.
go, oh, he's coming from that page. Play that trailer. I think
That,
that's
Right,
what-
that,
right,
that
maybe
may be
that's
that
what
may be, and there may be a reason that based on other things
And-
I've clicked on,
and
they
John-
think my interest
John
would be
was coming from
Starflight.
the-
Yeah.
John was coming from having previously looked up the entire series run of Salvage 1. So
Yeah.
he thought, well,
Yeah.
then he's going to watch
No, I
Yeah.
was looking at Blake 7. Come on.
Blake 7. I tried, man. I gave that like 5 episodes. I
Oh.
started
Hey,
at the beginning.
all-
I was like,
all
I know
of-
this is culty, and
All
I
of
can't-
those, I all of those, sci-fi genre series like BBC stuff of the 60s, 70s. It's all the same thing, which is great ideas, and then you're like, what a
Yeah.
and then you watch and you go like,
It's like,
oh, they were doing the best
the
they could,
pacing's
man.
terrible, and they
it's
have
like
no
a-
budget.
They're
It's
rinky
like
dink.
watching Sapphire and Steel. I
Yeah.
I tried that one too.
They're
Tried that one
great
too.
concepts, but the time
Yes,
wasn't right.
please.
It just wasn't. You weren't able
And
to do it on
the
TV.
American side, and don't come at me, people, but I watched it when it was on, and I tried rewatching recently just a
I wonder
couple
if you
episodes of Space
thinking-
1999.
No, I knew that was where he
And
was going. He's
I'm
wrong.
out. I'm out.
I love Space
Great cast.
1999.
Great cast. Awesome
I will
ship
kindly
design.
disagree with my brother.
Yeah.
But
Boring.
Love
I
Space
thought you were about
1999.
I thought you were about to bring up the Star Lost with Keir Dullea.
Oh, that.
Oh, Star
the
Lost.
Star
No,
Lost.
No.
I will say, and people are like, man, they're all over the place on this one. There's really not a lot of meat on the bones here. I mean, this is mostly the note of this was the last time that Cushing. This was his last TV appearance, period. And this
Basically,
was
guys,
the last time he played
the whole
this
plot
iconic
is,
character.
He is.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually
he
get to what
finds
the
out
reveal
about
is.
the German plot to kind of kickstart a war with Britain, and they've got nerve gas. Which, again, that's historically interesting. Putting Holmes in kind of the early days of World War I is interesting.
Right.
But there's, like John's saying, there's nothing here. And the masks of death that freak people out, like street people who've encountered these German workers, they're wearing gas masks, which have, like snouts and
who's the guy?
Weirdly, ears. I didn't quite get the ears. I'm like, I don't know what that's about.
The guy said it was a pig.
He goes, they have the bodies of men, but the faces of pigs.
And I just kept not the faces of white teddy bears because they equally look.
They look a little adorable, actually.
A little bit. I do want to. When actually, it's something that the Doctor Who in the Eccleston season does way better with the creepy kids and the gas masks. Which is actually very disturbing. Yeah, that's so good. But I do want to talk about Russell Hunter, who plays the hobo guy that they talk to, because he is going for it, where he's just like, "There's demons on the streets, demons I see."
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I kept wondering if he looked at the teeth that they gave him and just went, "I know this character."
Roy Ward Baker came over to him and goes, "You can just stop right there. I've got it. All right, I think I figured this out. Okay." Yeah, understood.
Because in fact, I brought my own. Hold on.
Yeah. I don't want it, but looking at, I've forgotten that he is in all of Callan, one of the great BBC shows.
Edward Woodward.
Edward Woodward in Callan.
Is he an spy in that or a current spy? I forget what the deal is with Callan.
I think he is a current spy, because then there's sort of a theory that the Equalizer is maybe sort of later days Callan.
I was wondering. Yeah.
The secret agent man is the prisoner.
Yeah, there's that sort of thing, because you're like, he's a former British spy in Equalizer, so maybe he is Callan. But anyway, if you haven't seen Callan, go check it out. It was ahead of its time in terms of its like grimness. He was a real serious. He wasn't a James Bondy sort of spy. He was a real badass.
A little bit of Le Carré and a guy coming in.
Yeah, good show. Good show.
Edward Woodward, man.
Edward Woodward. Right. Oh, Woodward, the best.
We have not. We need to keep talking about the film we're here to talk
about. Yeah. So that's what this ultimately builds to. Yes. At the end, you realize, it's a plot by the Germans to release gas into the homes of the citizens of London in the event of a bombing, right? The whole thing is, should there be a bombing, it will trigger this device that will release this gas into homes to create, I guess, basically a weapon of mass destruction, right? I mean,
yes,
it's a cool idea. Like, I was sort of like, that's what this was building to. That's sort of what I was saying earlier, where I'm like, I wish there had been more of a scope to this early on to set up that this was going to turn into a super weapon plot,
Well,
right.
The
guy who plays the German scientist, Anton Diffring, he is underplaying so much, because I've seen him go bigger and things. He was like the go-to Nazi in the 60s.
Well, and it's a shame to say it, but because look at him. I just say, like, he's just got a face that you're just like, yeah. That's a
Right.
Nazi.
The way
anyway.
the slow burn on this plot is something that again has been borrowed from other Sherlock Holmes stories, where it starts with an odd local mystery, but not anything earth-shattering. But then it'll be revealed that mystery, which he kind of ignores to go off on the bigger one,
right?
It's actually tied in. So they do start off small with just mysterious deaths. And you're like, okay, they all look terrified. Well, what's this about? And then by the end of the movie, it's like, actually, I believe this is tied into this huge earth-shaking plot. So yeah, they don't immediately start with big stakes. They start with, hey, Holmes, I'm with Scotland Yard. You know me. Can you help me out? It's like, well, I'm kind of retired. It's like, yeah, but you'll like this.
I'm on board for that structure. It's just like, it just feels like it goes from 0 to 100 in the last 10 minutes, you know? Because then it becomes this thing where they go out to the seemingly unrelated case where a British envoy or a German envoy, was it a British envoy to Germany?
German envoy
goes missing, and so they want Holmes to come out to this country estate to see what happened. And then it's like, why, Watson, these cases might just be connected. Which you're like, of course, I was waiting for that. Because otherwise, that would be an insane plot. It's just Holmes solves 2 random cases. But then it becomes the thing where he's like,
it would be the private life of Sherlock Holmes.
It's true. It would be Billy Wilder's movie.
And by the way, talking of our buddy Mr. Hines being lazy, you get, per any Holmes movie, you get at least I'll be generous. You get one instance where Holmes calls Watson his Boswell. This one has 3 or 4 in one movie. I simply can't do it without my Boswell. Well, I need my Boswell.
I will say,
stop it. We get it.
I will say their chemistry is great, but this, in some ways, I was like, I think they're more of a romantic couple in this than they were in Private Life.
The gayest they've ever been. Is that what you're saying? They're gay.
Well, he really, I mean,
I was so gay in this.
But there's a lot of I need you, Watson. You're the most important person in the but to me. Yeah. And you're just like, man, they are about to kiss. And I'm not sure I'm against it.
No, I'm not either. But I did think it was a little over the top when he said, I need you, Watson. You're the most important person ever. And then they play Mighty Real by Sylvester. I thought that was
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Crazy talk.
Much.
Yeah.
It was a little,
And yet it was also, it also fit.
Yeah.
You know, you think it's not working, but then it works, and you're like, oh.
It worked. Cushing could still bust out the moves when he wanted. You know?
Yeah, it's a whole dance number. It was crazy. It's like 5 minutes of the thing.
Crazy.
He's doing this.
Insane.
Absolutely wild. But Cushing's like, it was necessary. I wouldn't let them cut a second.
This is based on my own research into the canon.
I do like that there is the quote from Cushing on here where he just says, the trouble is that I'm 70. Far too old to play Holmes as he appears in the stories written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So he knew, but he was just like, but I'm doing it anyway.
It wasn't an ego trip.
I do kind of wish, though, to your point, Brendan, about it does acknowledge he's older, but, I mean, obviously, Mr. Holmes does this so much more. It would have been, I wish it was more like, oh, I am old. Like, they reference that he's older, but it doesn't play into the plot in any way. It's not doing the, like, Wrath of Khan thing where it's like, this hero has aged or something like that. It really is just like, I'm older and I'm kind of retired. Oh, well, Holmes' adventure now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do sort of wish it would be like, you see him missing a step. Still being great, but, like, struggling a little more or something like that. You know, you don't really get that.
I just like seeing him in 1914 clothes and being in a motor car and him referring to a motor car.
That is
like,
great.
Wow, it's future Holmes. He's in the future.
And so many things have done
in the 22nd century.
If only, let's get him in the future. He
ends up in the 23rd century in the Brave Star verse.
Brave Star.
Which I believe is how they refer to it, the Brave Star verse.
What was the show they ended up making? Was it 22nd?
Talk about that.
Was it 22nd?
Wasn't it 23rd?
23rd in the
it
Brave
was-
Star, but remember they actually made the show a lot later.
I know.
And I couldn't remember if that was still. The show was 22nd century. I think the Brave Star was 23rd.
Thank you.
And then they were like, but I think that's funny that when they actually did the show, they were like, let's back it up. Let's back it up 100 years.
Well, Brave Star failed, and
Yeah, and so they're just like,
but not in my heart.
we still like that idea, but not. To, I like Sherlock. When you click on Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century Wikipedia, the first thing it says is not to be confused with the Brave Star episode Sherlock Holmes in the 23rd century.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
There
thank you. According to the creators of this show, it was totally unrelated.
Today,
Totally unrelated. I just think that's funny.
But anyway,
no,
here's the
I
thing.
said I'm glad we got to visit the Brave Star corner this week.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's Bond every 10 minutes.
It's time for Brave Star.
Once every 4 episodes, Brave Star moment.
I gotta say,
Right,
I don't think there's any 007 corner to be had this week, which is unusual for this many Brits. I mean, somebody may have been
guys,
a tiny
don't
part, but
start thinking it's like, well, no, just stop.
wasn't John Mills in the
so,
background of a Bond? But no,
I
This
think,
is not-
I think the dude
this
who
is
played
not-
McDonald has been in a Bond.
This is not great Holmes. I would recommend it for the fans of Mr. Cushing.
well, because there are so few,
and
right? Even
If you guys stan an Irene Adler, this is some good Irene Adler, because Anne
Yes.
Baxter,
yeah,
being an older but still
That's-
canny and sharp Irene Adler all
this-
day long.
this falls into the
Yeah.
frustrating category to me, where there's so much that's working, but it doesn't
Right.
fully get there, and you're just like, oh man, the pieces were there. This could have really been
Yeah.
something with a real writer and and maybe just a little bit more money. I'm not saying this need to be a huge production, but step it up a little
No,
bit
yeah.
from the TV, because it is very TV, yeah, which is a shame. But yes, it is, to your point about for being so associated with the role. He only played him a couple times, really. Cushing, I mean, Sherlock Holmes. It's not like Rathbone.
I don't know.
where
There
there's,
may have
like-
been stage productions.
There may have been stage production, but there really
Right.
is just the Hammer, Hound of the Baskervilles, the show, of which there's really only like 4 or 5 of those episodes left still.
I think it's 6.
Six, yeah,
Yeah.
that the BBC
Yeah.
didn't erase, but there's like 10 that are missed because he did like
Right.
15 or 16
Yeah.
of them, which is a shame because they were just like, nobody cares about this, just tape over it. Jesus Christ, it
Oh,
pisses me off.
Fuckers,
Speaking, the same thing
fuckers.
with like the whole mentioning Callan earlier. I think like the whole first season of Callan is gone.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's
Well,
insane.
and like
Lot of the
they
Doctor Who's.
discover a lost episode of Doctor Who,
Yep.
but they found the audio, so they redo it as a-
animated.
I really like
yeah,
I find I've really enjoyed those. They do a nice job with those, I think, where they
Yeah.
do the animation. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I can get this, John Pertwee, 4-parter as best I
Right,
can
right,
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is sort of a thing why even though this isn't, the strongest, there is something about just like, well, we did have so few precious moments of this guy who was just perfect for this role. And so it is sort of like, I do sort of cherish any chance to see him put on the Deerstalker.
That's why
yeah.
I'll say it's a mild recommend,
Yeah.
but with those conditions. If you just want to
Yeah.
see a great actor who was great for the part, watch this. Just don't go in going like, oh, this will be one of those wonderful mysteries I never.
No,
it's not the mystery.
And if you're
That's
kind of
not what's getting you
obviously,
here.
if you really want to see Cushing in his prime in the character, the Hammer, Hound of the Baskervilles is excellent, and that's
Very
really
much.
Yeah.
that's I
Yeah.
mean that is as good a
Um,
Holmes production as you're gonna
One
see.
more note about the Sherlock Irene Adler thing in this
Yeah.
film is the thing I loved about it was, unlike other things we've seen, there's no romance at all. It's
No.
just
In fact, I really love that moment.
Who kicked his ass?
I love
And
that
he
moment.
has never forgotten it. So when they say the woman, and he's like the woman, it's almost on a level of Moriarty's here, like
Yeah.
it's that.
Yeah, they don't go with she was the only woman that he felt something for. This is
Right.
the more
Oh.
canonical.
Yes.
She's the only woman who's ever beaten me, and I can count on one hand the number of people who've beaten me. And it's like, and there's 3 men and 1 woman,
Right.
and so that's why she's the woman. So it is more like we meet again, sort of, not nemesis, but yeah, I got my eye on you.
Because
she just respects the hell out of him too. That's the whole thing. It's respect.
Absolutely, which I love. I love that moment when Watson says, like, I believe that Mrs. whatever she's got, Norton, I think is what she says her name, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, when Watson's like, but that is not her, it is Miss Irene Adler. And yeah, he goes like, the woman, and then, but I just like, he's like, if you recall, Watson, that scandal in Bohemia was the one time, it's like one of a very few moments, like he really is, like I directly remember that. That was one of the few times that still like wakes him in the middle of the night going, fuck, that one didn't, go my way. I love, and then I also love the moment where she does kind of get flirty to him, and he's just like, yeah, go ahead and stop that, because that's not gonna work. Like, basically,
and again, the laziness of Hines going like, oh, I'm gonna pull out all those quotes. So the whole thing of no woman is ever to truly be, completely trusted, not even the best of them. You're like, okay, direct lift, great.
I also rolled my eyes later when he's like, I figured it out, Watson. It's like, what? It's like, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the. I'm like, I don't think that's a thing. He's like, just busting out all the time. He's just constantly saying it.
This is a greatest hits Holmes.
Where
Watson just goes, yep.
Heard it?
Yep.
How did Hines resist an elementary, my dear Watson? I can't believe he didn't sneak one in there. Really. Anyway, there you go. That's
because he saw a 7% solution, and he said, "It will never beat that moment with Freud."
No, well, no, nothing.
So
this is
where Freud says it, and Watson just smirks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're entering maybe not deconstructionist, but I do think the next sort of, as we enter the 80s here, we're getting more.
They shift back to not being honorary. They're going to be mocking.
Maybe not mocking, but like different approaches. I think the next couple we have are all left of center or slightly different approaches, because you ask what's next week on the show. I think you were about to, at least.
Yeah.
This is a very old Sherlock Holmes. This is an older Sherlock Holmes. I think it's time we meet a young Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah.
Young Sherlock Holmes from Barry Levinson, or as the poster declares, Steven Spielberg presents. And I will give you the tagline here, which is pretty good, actually. Before a lifetime of adventure, they lived the adventure of a lifetime. That's a very Amblin marketing campaign.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it was because they were using CGI, and that's
This movie, regardless of the movie itself, is forever noted in film history for its innovative CGI work. This is a real. I haven't seen this in a long time, but this was a favorite of mine as a kid. Obviously, I was exactly the target audience for this. So we're entering I saw this all the time on cable, and particularly was blown away by the stained glass painting, the stained glass coming to life and stuff like that. I just fucking loved this movie. So they also used
the opening of Amazing Stories. They had a similar.
Yep. This is. I was an Amblin kid, so I mean, this is really like, oh my god, put it in my veins, man. So this is a big one for me, obviously. But
me too.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's great. It's so much fun.
My previewing hot take. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And you want to talk about physical resemblance? Nicholas Rowe, in terms of looking like Holmes, man.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh, amazing choice.
And I always liked the fact that he looked like a young Robin Jones, which
there's a slight similarity.
It's
oh, shut up, you dumb! You are so dumb.
But yeah, this was So anyway, I'm very excited to revisit this. Also, there is a new 4K release of this that I did pick up. So
wow.
Yeah.
Is that
I think
Peter
it's
Lorber?
No, I don't think it's one of the boutiques. I think they just put it out. Whatever the studio
Nice.
is.
Well, I won't be watching that one since I do not have 4K.
Yeah.
But I'll find it, and I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Absolutely, it's great stuff. Okay, so that's next week on the show. Of course, if you want more from us, including the aforementioned Peter Cushing podcast that we did, you can head over to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/punchup. That's punchup ENT. Get cool exclusive bonus content as well as help support all the shows on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. And make sure you head over to our YouTube page because there's even more content there as well as all the podcasts you can enjoy.
So much content.
Yeah, and even more so now because this will be coming out in 2026. So you'll be getting There's more. Yeah, we're recording these well in advance. So you'll be getting even more
the
content.
world's still there.
Fun. Hey, John.
Yeah.
We have to also plug the future Patreon show, Cashing Those Banna Checks, where we talk about the work of the card.
Oh, I do love it. I do love it, George.
Two straight seasons.
This was fun.
Banna Check.
See
yeah,
you guys.
there's actually similar
See you next
to
week.
there's not actually that much Banachek. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we'll see the listeners next week on the show 6 years from now.
Yes.
Let me just say the video game season has been a whole slog if you're wondering why. So I'm like, you know what? Let me in the background record 2 more so I'm well ahead of the show. Has been basically what this experience is. That's why I've been recording this season and last season simultaneously.
A lot of Yui Bowl there, John, for that video.
Oh,
game
we
season,
actually banned him from the video game season just for our own sanity.
Wow.
But we did
Good
cover that. But that's after the experience of covering all 3 of his Blood Rain movies on Meet the Monsters,
that was
which
something
were
that felt
brutal, my
all
friend.
3.
Brutal.
All
Yeah, they got worse. Like all of a sudden, the first one started to look good, and you're like, oh god. Anyway, yeah. So that's gonna do it. Until next week, the case file
Poor actress
is closed.